And as you know, my go-to guy for stuff around this is Wellington lawyer Graeme Edgeler, and he joins us on the line now. Graeme, lovely to have you with us. Good morning to you. It's the big day.
Good morning. Yeah, finally.
Finally. And there's been much speculation about that. Just take us through first, Graeme, why these votes didn't, 500, 500,000 or more, didn't get counted on the day, and what is the process that has been gone through in the last 2-3 weeks?
They didn't get counted on the day for the simple reason special vote is a vote where you're not sure at the time you give it to the person that they're entitled to vote. And so it might be, if people have followed US elections, these are what are called provisional votes. Someone comes in and says, I'm enrolled to vote, but you won't find me in that bit of booklet you've got in front of you. I'm entitled to vote, though, but even though I'm not there, you'll do some checks after the election, they'll be sure I can vote, and then you can count my vote. And so it's people who, when you turn up at the voting place, the person in there was, I'm not sure this person is entitled to vote, maybe because they're in Auckland and they're supposed to be voting in Christchurch, or they're overseas or whatever, and there are some extra processes they have to go through. And so we're not going to count them on election night, because until we've worked out, is this person actually entitled to vote, we're not even going to open, with special vote, there's two compartments, and until you worked out, has someone approved, yes, this person is entitled to vote, they don't even open up the second box in your envelope. And sometimes there'll be thousands of people every election, there was some problem with it, they didn't have someone witness it or something like that, where, no, this person is entitled to vote, they made their declaration, but they didn't sign it in front of someone. Okay, we're not counting their vote.
All right,
and so
Graeme,
those are the processes. They are checking them, basically.
I'm trying to figure out if I was a special vote. I voted early, I think the Thursday before the election, down here in Manor Street in Wellington. I didn't have was an easy vote card with me that came in the letterbox. So I went in there and I said, I'm in this electorate. I haven't got my card with me. They went down a list and they crossed my name off the list, and I was on the list, and then they gave me my voting papers, and I voted and put it in the appropriate box. Am I a special vote?
That's an ordinary vote.
That's an ordinary vote.
That's an ordinary vote.
Okay, that's an ordinary vote.
If your name is on the voting roll and you turn up in person, and you can tell them your address, they'll be crossing your name off on a list.
Yeah.
And so that will be an ordinary vote.
Okay. How does this relate, Graeme, to overseas votes and people who have voted overseas?
So anyone voting overseas, no matter which way, if they go into an embassy or a high commission in London or something like that, or if they use the download and upload process that the Electoral Commission now has, those are special votes as well. As part of the printing off and then scanning them back, you'll have to have it witnessed and go through the steps and make sure that the processes
are they the majority of special votes, Graeme, traditionally?
Not even close.
Okay.
Historically, sort of, the expectation would be maybe 70,000, 80,000 overseas votes and, 500 to 600,000 overall. So it's, 15% or something like that.
Okay. What have been the traditional trends, if there are any, of special votes? Since
MMP, at every election, national support on special votes is lower than its support in ordinary votes.
Right.
It's not always lower enough to make a difference and make them lose a seat, but they've never done as well under MMP on special votes as they have on ordinary votes. Under First Past the Post, it was weird. The special votes in marginal seats, if people remember what marginal seats were, just worked differently from the special votes everywhere else. And so there were odd things. But since MMP, National has never done better in special votes than they have done on election night.
Okay. How much worse are they doing? So,
for the last 4 elections since we changed what counts as a special vote, which is, it used to be if you voted early, not on election day, that had to be a special vote. We changed that. This will be the 5th election where that hasn't been the case. And so in the previous 4 elections, 2011 and 2014, National went down by 1. And the next 2, 2017 and 2020, National went down by 2. And, we've got, is it 7 hours or something before we find out whether that happened again? I don't know. But, I would be surprised if they went down by 3. I'd be surprised if they stayed the same. The more interesting thing for certain national MPs is there are several electorates which they're ahead by
I just want to get to that, Graeme. So we need to remember, even in these close electorates, right, where we've got less than 100 votes that could decide it, changes to those electorates are not going to affect the proportionality of Parliament, right?
No. With the possible exception, there's a Maori electorate or two within less than 500 votes. So if one of them did, then that could change it. But everywhere else, it's just Nationals are they getting 50 seats or 49 or 51? And then the question is, who are those particular 50 or 49 MPs? Are they? And it's just, each electorate you win is one less list MP you need to make up your fair number on the party vote.
So for individuals, it's, there'll be a few on the margins here who are biting their lips.
If National did really well, you could have the odd thing of some of their sort of quite high up list MPs. It's not going to happen. There were fears before the election that National might do so well on electorates that, say, Nicola Willis or something like that. Or if National wins so many electorates, even Nicola Willis might not make it in.
On the list.
That's not going to happen, I don't think, because they're not going to pick up 5 electorates or something like that. But it's you could have 1 or 2 people who you thought were going to be MPs who suddenly turn out not to be.
Graeme, it is also possible, given the nature of this election, coming after that COVID election, which was unprecedented in 2020, that we might not see the same sort of trends that we've seen in special votes in the past.
Absolutely. And, I've always been, I've occasionally called sort of my analysis a prediction. It's not really a prediction. It's if the same thing happened last time, happened this time. I've no reason to believe or not believe, that it's going to happen. I could see people as suggesting, overseas voters who are annoyed about not being able to come back to New Zealand or something like that. That might be slightly different. And that might be enough to make the difference between 0 and 1 or 1 and 2. Absolutely.
All right.
Who knows? And someone does probably because, what you really want to do is speak to someone who is scrutineering one of these counts for one of the parties, because they'll have stopped the counting yesterday. There'll be some adding up today or something like that. But some people out there know the results already. Find out who they are, or like the rest of us, wait until 2 p.m.
All right. Let's talk about the Maori seats and overhang. This is where a party gains more electorate seats than it is entitled to, going by the party vote or the proportional vote part of our MMP voting system. At present, if things were to stay the same, is there an overhang for the Maori Party?
Yes, the Maori Party at present is ahead in 4 electorates. Their party vote is only enough for them to have 3 seats overall. And so they're causing an overhang. That seat essentially means 1 more list MP. There aren't going to be any more electorate MPs, 1 more list MP. That list MP at the moment, I think, is going to National. Because it's sort of just how the maths works on that. And that might well change. But at the moment, of course, the Maori Party, we're talking about sort of historic trends. The last election, the Maori Party, particularly of the last couple of elections, have done really well on special votes. They were the strongest of the major, the parties that are in Parliament, sort of like, every sort of 60% better on the special votes than they, So last election, the Māori Party were one of the seats who picked up a seat on the election, and so they got their first list MP.
So that would give us
a seat this time.
If they
were to pick up a seat this time, it would mean no overhang, probably.